All right. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am excited to be here with the one and only, the Nomad investor. All right, so this is a kind of collaboration. I think it's been a long time coming. We're both investing. We both actually do live overseas, and I think this is actually a fantastic topic that we both can kind of just talk about. And today's topic is just going to be geo arbitraging, living abroad, investing, and whatever else comes up on our minds. Joe, do you want to introduce yourself to my channel?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey everyone, it's Joe. I go by Joe Money, aka the Nomad Investor. I was previously investing in high yield ETFs. Still do a little bit here and there. We're gonna be chatting about some good talks. I think so, right, Eugen?
I hope so. I hope we can make this a little entertaining for our audience. All right. Myself, I obviously run my own channel, and I cover mostly stocks, news, finance news, macro, that kind of stuff. I also covered a lot of high yield in the past, but I've kind of just been focused more on growth assets, growth stocks, growth ETFs, and kind of the themes and the trades out there in the stock market, because there's just so many. But that's neither here nor there. So let's talk about geo arbitraging. Joe, you made a great video on your page. As a matter of fact, I want to bring that up. All right, let me actually add that to the stream, because I think it's super important that we get that and get you kind of noticed here. But yeah, that's me for anyone who's wondering. And then we have a Nomad investor. You guys can check him out. But he made a video some time ago called geo arbitraging, right? And so what can you tell us about geo arbitraging? Like, what is it?
Yeah. I think, like, at the end of the day, this is like the new SEO keyword rich term for it. But geo arbitraging is basically like earning in a strong currency, typically like in the West, and moving to a region where your money goes a lot further, right? So it's just basically arbitraging the fact that your money goes further, you're able to save more, in our case, invest more, and just like live a little bit more of a carefree, relaxed life.
So there you guys have it. So that is essentially what geo arbitraging is. I didn't know I was geo arbitraging when I kind of first moved out here. So then I started to hear the buzzwords, and I was like, oh, that's what geo arbitraging actually is. So living in a low cost of living area, right? So we covered on one of my streams that the cost of health insurance, the cost of food, the cost of freaking car insurance, gas, rent. It's getting pretty ridiculous, and a lot of people are kind of moving overseas or choosing to move overseas, right, where their cost of living can be way more optimized, right? So let's take let's take a city like New York, right, where maybe you're living on $5,000 a month if you're lucky. That $5,000 you're barely scraping by. Am I right or wrong?
100%. You would not get that far with $5,000 per month, unfortunately.
So tell me, what is $5,000 like in your area? Maybe if you want to just expand on kind of like where you're at in the world, and why you chose that, and then we can kind of go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who aren't aware, I'm based in the Philippines. That's where I primarily spend my time, but I do but I do sometimes switch locations temporarily. But that's just my main headquarters. For $5,000, you can pretty much live like the top 10% in the United States. So by that I mean you can have a penthouse if you really wanted to. I mean, maybe not a penthouse. Let me back up. You could probably have like a 2-bedroom, like pretty nice luxury condo. You could be eating steaks every single day. You could have a private chef, private driver. You can be smoking cigars if you're into that thing, or any other hobbies that you may be interested in, such as golfing and etc. You'd pretty much have like a very relaxed life. You'd have even your own cleaners, private helpers, people doing maintenance for you. That's, and maybe I'm generalizing here. So if you want me to clarify a little bit more, Eugen, feel free. But that's just basically what you can get here in the Philippines. Mind you, the Philippines is not exactly the best place for arbitraging, except for right now. And I'll go into that a little bit later. But I'll just keep it at that for now.
That's funny. Yeah. I mean, I've been to the Philippines myself a couple of times. I mean, it's, some areas are way better than others. Some areas are way more congested than others. But let's take a look at what we got in the chat. All right, so far we have Skeptic giving us a wave hand and saying,
"Yo, like what's up, Skeptic?"
We also have Retire on Dividends saying morning. Well, good morning to you, Retire on Dividends. We also have Rosamon saying, Nick, how are
you? Yo.
And we got Kevin Hawthorne up in here saying good morning from Lakeland, Florida.
Nice.
It is a good morning over there. So yeah, again, everyone, we're just kind of talking about geo arbitraging. And I mean, for myself, you know, like it's crazy, like $5,000. Yeah. Like in this area, especially in like Thailand, you can get so much for 5,000. I mean, there's like, let me just show you some, let's see, Isaiah
Thomas. Isaiah Ashley, excuse me.
Yeah, Ashley, yeah. So this is another YouTuber. I actually got interviewed on his show, I think about a year ago now. But he goes over all of these different condos and how much they cost. He's been doing it, you know, for Vietnam. He's done it for Dominican Republic, but he's based out of Thailand. And he's actually done some things again, like in Vietnam, like I was mentioning. But some, like, look at this, $250 for rent in Vietnam, right? And there's some for Thailand for like $1,000. And you get like a condo with like everything all included. You know, you're gonna have swimming pools. You're gonna have like a cafeteria, probably not too far, maybe not a cafeteria, but like a night market. You know, you can have tons of food. Like, you know, again, this is just one channel that explores that whole kind of lifestyle, that whole like, you know, nomad expat lifestyle. So, you know, here's another one, like another $445. And he lives in a luxury condo. Like I know this gentleman right here, so that's why I'm picking on his video. But yeah, here's another $400 one. But yeah, like 550, you're in the city and you're not too far. I mean, look at this, look at the entrance, right? It looks like a hotel. And then as you move up, as you move up, you could see all the crazy stuff that they have in these condos. So Joe, how long have you been away from the United States? Like how long?
Oh man. Quite a few years. I'll just say this, to not get too crazy specific, but in the Philippines, I've been here at least three years. Yeah.
Oh, 3 years.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would have changed? Anything you know would have done differently if you could go back in time?
Yeah, I would say I probably would have left the Philippines sooner. You know, like I'm sure you kind of can relate, Eugen. Like once you kind of start to spend more than 6 months within a country, you start to somewhat like plant more roots than you realize. And then it kind of almost becomes like you were back in your home country, where you kind of have these shackles that may or may not necessarily like hold you back from doing other things. Now, I'm very fortunate, of course. Like I'm obviously not trapped like I am in the West, or I'm not trapped in the Philippines. But yeah, that would have probably been the case. But you know, I have zero regrets.
That's awesome. Yeah, like for me personally, like living out here in Thailand, like I don't want to buy a home. Like I don't want to buy a condo. I don't want to buy a house. I want to remain as flexible as possible. Because tomorrow I might just be like, you know what? I want to go live in the Philippines for a couple of months, or I want to go live in Vietnam for a couple of months, or maybe I want to go to South Korea for like a week or two, right? Like, you know, it's pretty much the world's an oyster at that point. And I know we're an investing channel, but we're kind of exploring a different topic here. We're exploring, you know, something living overseas and kind of just trying something new, especially because what are we investing for, right? What are we investing for? What are we trying to achieve?
100%.
We're not trying to freaking enjoy ourselves and not work until we're like 70 years old, where we can't do anything. So,
and you know what? You know what? Most 70-year-olds, and you know, and even sometimes like 50 to 70 range, maybe 50 to 80, they end up moving out here anyway. So it's like, you know, you're gonna end up here anyway, so you might as well just like make the jump sooner if you can, right? If you're fortunate enough to.
Yeah, and you know, it's how do I put this like delicately? Because I don't want to come off as like a jerk. Like, because this gentleman right here, Keith Robinson, shout out to you for mentioning Patty. Like everybody knows what Patty is. Everyone knows. You YouTube Patty, and you're gonna figure it out real quick.
Even I've been there.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy, like what is over there. And but for me personally, like I spent weeks there, and after a couple of days, like nowadays, I can't even stay there more than a weekend. And that's
No.
I go there to see friends. But in the earlier days when I was first like getting my feet wet in the area and traveling around and being exposed to all these different things, like patio was like so much fun. But nowadays, like nowadays I'm like, I'm gonna chill. Like, dude, I don't want to go to this. I don't want to go to the walking street. I don't want to go see these bars. Like they're all the same. It's all the same people. Like
small place.
Like, Yep. So let's see. We have from Retire on Dividends. Took the morning off to go for a run on the boardwalk and was looking for something to listen to. Perfect. Sell me on leaving the most expensive state, New Jersey.
Easy.
I think California and New York are going to take New Jersey's spot for the most expensive. I don't know if it is or isn't, but man.
I mean, New Jersey's up there too, right? Like they're all within that category. But yeah, I agree.
Brother, anything in the United States at this point is up there. Like anything, everything is expensive.
Yeah, I would say this. I'll say this. Like, sorry, my bad. Eugen, is it okay if I speak to that?
No, go ahead, please.
Cool. Yeah, so like I'll just say this, like ROD, retiring dividends. To be honest, like you're gonna be leaving some modern conveniences, but at the end of the day, like if you truly are not enjoying your life on a day-to-day where you're living and you want something a little bit more stress-free, doesn't mean that you're not working, doesn't mean that you're still not like striving for like going after your passions or whatever. You can just like live on so much less if you're able to, of course, right? And I'm assuming you are based on the question, than what you're currently spending. That frees up so much more of your capital. If your goal is the fire routes, which based on watching your channel, I believe it is, you can achieve that a lot faster. As long as you don't get lost in the sauce. Eugen knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I got lost in the sauce quite a few times.
Also, it's not freaking cold out here unless you intentionally choose a cold region, which you could. There's Eastern Europe, right? There's Eastern Europe.
Man, that like when those snowstorms happen in the Northeast, I get videos and pictures. I'm just like, let me check outside real quick. I'm like, oh, it's just sunshine. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good up here. Oh, it's kind of chilly. It's chilly in the morning. Like, ooh, I might have to wear a light sweater. It doesn't get that here. Well, that's pretty cool. Yeah. So like, food is pretty cheap out here. I think on an average day, like on a very average day, if I'm not like eating at like, a restaurant, like an American style restaurant or anything, even like some of the, and I mean, maybe you could speak to this as well. Like the cost of food is dramatically less than it is in the West. And sometimes it's even higher quality. Can you explain, at least kind of that aspect for people? Like, I know in the Philippines, like they have like push carts, they might have like, fresh fruits and veggies and things like that. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. If you are willing to go where the locals go, you can definitely get some of the craziest deals ever. I'm talking about like you can literally get, fresh fruits, vegetables, even some fish, fresh caught fish for like pennies on the dollar, right? If you were to go to more of like a grocery store, which that's kind of my preferred route, honestly, you're definitely going to be paying a little bit higher, but still, like, to put in perspective, when I lived in California, I think my bill on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, was about $250 per week. That's me buying, just for reference, that's me buying ground beef. That's me buying, a couple steaks for the weekend, every single weekend. That's me buying like organic, pasture raised, eggs and stuff like that. Just kind of give you guys perspective. Meanwhile, in the Philippines, I could get not 100%, but pretty close enough to all that for like $150 for the month.
That's crazy. So I put up a video of Boracay because this is one place I still haven't been to. This is like similar to like Phuket in Thailand, but I mean, but smaller. This is the place I want to go to. Is it small? Have you been?
Yeah, I've been there. It's actually like not that bad size. It's like perfect size, I think. I love Boracay. I actually just recently came back from there. Did a holiday trip there. So yeah, that's my favorite island. One of my favorite islands, I should say.
Yeah, like seeing that blue water, man. Every time I see stuff
Unbeatable.
like that, I'm like, dude, I want to pack my bags and get up out of here. I want to get up out of here. Oh, this is part of the video. Let me see if I can close that out. Boom. All right, yeah. So, well, all right. So we talked about food. We talked about. So, how much do you pay for? And you don't have to share this. Maybe I don't know if you.
I don't mind. I don't mind. I'm gonna open a book right
like, what's your like typical living expense while living overseas?
Yeah, that's a great question. It used to be more. I recently like downsized my living situation because I want to do more traveling. But right now it's like $1,200 a month, right? What that gets me access to is a fairly decent sized like studio condo that I'm currently in. That's about 35 square meters. Eugen, I don't know if you're good with square meters to square feet, but yeah.
I could barely do math, man.
Yeah. How are we investors and we can't even do math? This is crazy. Yeah, 35 square meters. I'll research later when Eugen starts talking, but that gives me like a balcony. I've got, pool access. I've got a, fairly nice like gym at my condo. That's including food. I actually ride I own a motor scooter here. So like I actually use that, not all the time, but on occasion for like getting to and from places. It's just faster in the Philippines. And rather than me paying for grabs and stuff, which I could easily do, I'm just trying to invest as much of my money as possible. That also includes like I can go out to eat restaurants if I wanted to every day. I don't, but usually I leave that for the weekends. Go out with friends if they invite me out. Any kind of extracurricular activities. So,
man, that's living the life right there. Since we're still talking about investing, let's take a look at futures right now and see how we're looking in the pre-market. All right, so this is our futures guide. Let's take a look here. This is ugly. What is this? Hold on a second. Let's go to maps. There we go. I like the maps better. All right, let's take a look at futures. Holy crap. Let's go. S&P 500 up 76 basis points, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Nasdaq up 1.4%. We are climbing, baby. And it looks like oil is coming down. We might have some breaking news of an Iran deal because it looks like oil is going down like crazy. All right, I just want to take a look at that to kind of break away from what is going on here in our chat. Hold on 1 second. Okay, so last we had was this was 37 minutes ago from the first squawk. President of the Islamic Republic of Iran has said our priority is national security and the peace of our people. We will defend the rights, yada, yada, yada. So that's not what we want to read. Let's check here. There's something going on because our futures is going absolute bonkers. We saw Europe and Asia sell off pretty bad already. So for the United States and for the U.S. markets to climb up, that's pretty amazing. Okay, I will have to look for some news, but that is crazy. That is crazy. All right, so we also have Bitcoin pumping. Holy hell. Bitcoin is up 4.29%. Let's go.
Not bad at all. Let's go.
All right, let's get a round of applause for everybody. All right, so we are doing good here. All right, let's talk a little bit more about kind of living abroad. I'm gonna keep the heat map up because I just want to see how
I like it.
Yeah, we'll just keep this up. I mean, Boracay is beautiful, but so is the Green Day on the S&P 500.
I don't know. I kind of like the Green Day more than Boracay right now.
So, excuse me. All right, so you've been living abroad for about 3 years. You've been geo arbitraging. You're living in a low cost of living area, right? Yep. Food is abundant and food is relatively cheap, speaking. Yep. So life is good. Rent is cheap, right?
Oh yeah, I didn't mention my rent. You want me to mention my rent? So like,
please tell us about your rent.
Yeah, so I got a crazy deal. Let me pull up my calculator here so I could convert it into like dollars. But yeah, I pay about like $275 for rent right now.
What?
Yeah,
$275 for rent?
Yeah. No context. I got into a unit. It's not fully furnished at all. Like, I had to invest into quite a few things, but like for the price I was paying, I was like, I could easily recoup this in a couple months. So
that's crazy. That is pretty amazing.
Yeah, and to put in perspective, real quick, I was paying for a 66 square meter apartment. That's roughly like 700 to 800 square feet, back in the States. That was a 1 bedroom. massive unit. Before I was paying about like $750 a month for rent. So like I really cut back on spending just to kind of enjoy.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I mean, optimizing your finances. And this is in Bangkok. I just want to show this, but this is 25,000 baht a month. So that's roughly, let's see, 10,000. I think is like 300. I think like $300. So this is about $700 right here, right?
Pretty sweet.
And this is in a condo, right? So you're gonna be able to overlook the city. I mean, it's pretty nice for like a single person, right? You're probably not gonna have the whole family and your cousins living there,
right?
But the condo, look at that. The condo comes with like some really nice freaking amenities, and that's really what you're paying for, right? You're paying for the amenities and the location. It even has a gym. And again, you're right by the water. This video doesn't do it justice because this looks gray and sad, but
I mean, I've spent time in Thailand, so especially in Bangkok. So like, yeah, I know like this is gonna even look even crazier in real life.
Yeah, like man, that's crazy. That is really nice. Let's see, we got retire on dividend saying boom to the futures map, and we have retire on dividends also asking, is there property tax? I don't know about Thailand, to be honest. I haven't even really researched if I wanted to buy any property out here. Have you done any research for the Philippines?
100%. So I don't own currently. I almost bought a condo about maybe like a year and a half ago. I'm glad I didn't. I kind of bailed out last minute. But long story short, there is property tax. That is one of the big reasons I did not end up moving forward with it, because they kind of got some funky laws here in Southeast Asian countries, not just the Philippines, but in Southeast Asia. I think I researched Thailand as well because I was interested at one point. I can't remember the specifics though, so I'm not going to speak to it, but there is some level of property tax, of course, but it's very minuscule in comparison to what is here in the Philippines, which kind of reflects a little bit more similar to the States, you know?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I forgot to mention this to you, but if you want to pull anything up on your side, like any window, any screen, like, you know, if you want to show anything, just let me know, because I can actually add it to this.
By the way, this is sparkling water, everyone, just in case. I know some people see the red cap and they might be thinking, dang, he's going at it.
Is that a bottle of tequila? Like, hey, it's late for us, okay? It's early for everyone in the US.
Yeah, you're early. No, I got to drink my water. I got to hydrate when we're talking like these long talks. But you said I could share my screens. Okay, cool. Yeah, if I feel like popping something up, I'll let you know.
Look at this. Hey. We got David. This is pay me in dividends. Look at this. We got pay me in dividends up in here.
Yo,
David, if you can join the stream, let me know, man. I'll send you a link. You can join us. We have Bond, all right, saying you're early. Yes, we are. This is the first time I've actually ever streamed this late at night for me personally, and I'm sure it's late over there because I think Philippines is 3 hours or an hour ahead of Thailand.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
So we're about 12 hours. Sorry, my bad. What were you saying, Eugene? I apologize.
No, I was saying it's about 8:40 over there.
Yep, that's on. So like 12 hours from East Coast time. Yeah.
And then we have from Ben McKinney, I think some of the countries won't let foreigners own property. I think Japan does. I think Vietnam and Cambodia don't, but I would have to double check. So I'm gonna take your word for it, but go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I can speak to this. So it depends on the type of property. Most countries will let you own property. They won't let you own land. It's like the lot. So I'll give you a perspective. I can go to a Filipino here, or in Thailand as well, or in Indonesia, for instance. Same in Vietnam. I can make an agreement with the owner of the land, and I say, hey, I want to lease this land for 50 plus years with, and I'm just going to use this as a generic statement. I have friends who have done something similar. And then in the contract, in the agreement they have with them, they have the option to renew for another 25 years if they chose to. That being said, you don't own the land, but you can 100% own the property. So the question becomes, well, how can you sell the property? Well, and people do this a lot in Indonesia, believe it or not, specifically in Bali. What you can do is you can, sell it to some other foreigner, sell it to a local who has, quite a bit of wealth, or sell it to, whoever you want, right? That is going to be the best way to get out of that kind of investment. But to me, if you're going to buy something that you don't own the land, or at least like have some level of ownership to the land, it's not really worth it. Japan, you can own property 100% as a foreigner. Vietnam, they don't let you, you're leasing the land. It's, I'm not trying to get political here, but it is a communist country, something to keep in mind. So the government owns everything at the end of the day. So you're like leasing the land from the government or from the owner who's technically would give it to the government at some point, if ever the government were to request it. It's kind of weird. I'm just, again, blanketly stating this. Do deeper research, of course. But they do allow, I think, like 100-year lease on the land right now in Vietnam in certain regions. Cambodia, you can actually get citizenship. A lot of people don't know this. You can get citizenship in Cambodia, even if you're not a Cambodian national. You have zero Cambodian blood. And you can also purchase land. Purchase land and property, no problem. But I don't remember off the top of my head if you would need that citizenship first in order to qualify for the land part.
Well, man, that was pretty thorough because I still don't even know my local jurisdiction if I can own. I know I can't own land, but I could own the property, which is weird.
Yeah. Also, I forgot to mention, you just reminded me. You can own condos though, but there are some levels of restrictions. So I'll speak to only Philippines and Thailand because I know those two the most when it comes to condos. You can own 100% as a foreigner a condo as well, as long as the quota within that building hasn't been met. So I think 60%, I can't remember in Thailand, but in Philippines, 60% of the building needs to be owned by like locals. It can't, if for some reason there's already 40% foreigners owning it, you're out of luck, right? Like you cannot buy a property in that building unless a foreigner were to be willing to sell to you, or you were to make an agreement with a local, and basically like they can purchase the property on your behalf. But that's a whole other rabbit hole I'm not going to go down.
Yeah, it can get pretty bad. We do have some news that came out while you were speaking, and I just want to cover it real quick. This is coming from Amit Investing. All right, this is a tweet from Donald Trump on Truth Social. Both sides, Israel and Iran, are looking to do an immediate ceasefire. Final negotiations on peace are proceeding, subject to ignorance or stupidity getting in the way. The blockade will remain in place and in full force and effect until a final deal is reached. Things should move quickly. Thank you for your attention to this matter. All right, so we might be close to finally an Iran deal, and that seems to be what is sending the markets going higher right now.
The perception, at least, right?
Yeah, but again, this is man, this is what pisses me off. Like, this has been like, the Trump administration thing since the start. Like, oh, we're close to a deal. Markets pump, and then he's like, no deal, and then freaking the market's done, right? Like, yeah, it's the pull and grab, right? Just a bunch of freaking it's like Indiana Jones when he's about to steal that trophy or whatever, that gold statue, and he's like, let's replace that with hope, right? And then he takes the hope away. Like, it's just constantly that way. We have from Wolf, good evening and good morning. Well, for you, it's good morning, and for me, this time it is good evening.
Thank you. Good evening and good morning to you as well, depending on where you're at in the world.
All right, so let's okay, so we kind of covered living overseas and some of the benefits and things like that. I can honestly say, just me personally, I've been very happy just kind of being away from the Western way of life. I mean, it's totally and it's crazy. Even before I lived like out here in Southeast Asia, even living in the Middle East, completely different lifestyle. Like a completely different lifestyle. I have felt so safe at like 2 a.m. in Dubai or 2 a.m. in Qatar. Never felt like I was going to get robbed or that I'd go to a bad neighborhood or anything like that. Like I never felt that way in those countries. Even Kuwait, maybe Kuwait. Now that doesn't go across the board for everybody. I mean, I will say, I'm not going to mention the countries, but I will say that, in some countries, being the opposite sex might be, you might be pushing it. All right. I'll just say it that way because certainly some countries in the Middle East, for sure, I would not be caught dead at 2 a.m. by myself if I was the opposite gender. Right.
Man.
But yeah. At least in Dubai, I have always felt safe. I've never, ever had a problem over there. All right, we have, wow, channel legend still nailing it down where to go in Costa Rica. Yes, this is Sauce Maker. It's been with me since day one in the Discord. So yeah, Sauce Maker, he's been really eyeing Costa Rica. I've been to Costa Rica, loved Costa Rica. Went there for a bachelor party. So
Nice.
you guys already know. You already know what it's like. All right, you already know what it's like. But yeah, Costa
It's
Rica,
crazy there.
Costa Rica
You know what I like about Costa Rica? It's one of the OG, I think, like places like Americans or just even expats in general like chose, but it doesn't get the same level of press I think some of these other more recent favorites get. But man, Costa Rica is great. It's an like if you're adventurous, abundance of like outdoor space, nature, as you obviously know, both Eugen and was it Sauce Maker. But yeah, Costa Rica is sweet. It's just hard. It's really tough to choose. For me, I struggle when it comes to moving to more of these provincial parts of any place, just because I love infrastructure. But yeah, I mean, I think it's San Jose was the name of the city there, right? I can't remember. It's been a long
San
time.
Jose is the capital, I think.
Yeah. So there's pretty sweet. Like I was like, whoa, I did not expect this when I first came. But and I speak Spanish.
How much do you pay for your phone bill and your internet over there?
Oh, that's a great question. Let me convert it to USD real quick. One sec.
So I'll share mine. I'll share mine. I pay, I think, 800 baht, so for phone and for internet, and that's a little under like $30 a month. And my internet, like at home, is like 1 gig up, 1 gig down. And then for cell phone service, I think it's like 500 minutes a month, but I don't call anybody, right? And everything's done over WhatsApp or Messenger, anyways. And then the other one is for data. I think I get 30 or 20 gigs of data, which lasts me the entire. Like I could be walking in the middle of like I don't know, like Bangkok or something at the mall or something, which you know sometimes I hate going to because it's so crowded. But I'll be there, and my phone will be connecting to the local Wi-Fi, whatever it doesn't matter where you go. I noticed this in Dubai too. Like if you're in Dubai, any of the malls or any of these like public places, there's free Wi-Fi everywhere. It's
That's
probably
nice.
The government's spying on you, but you know, hey, it's free Wi-Fi.
Be that as it may. So you can't really get free Wi-Fi too much in the Philippines. In the malls for sure. Outside, definitely not. But to answer your question from before, Eugen, it's 800 pesos per month for phone, and then it's 1,700 pesos. I'm going to round it up. It's 1,699, but 1,700 pesos, which in total that's 2,499 Philippine pesos per month, and that's like $40.52. You know, so like
what the?
Yeah, not these are Mexican. These are Mexican pesos. By the way, I have like five. Like honestly, they said it's only up to 500 megabytes per second. I've got like 800 megabytes per second Wi-Fi here, fiber.
Hold up a minute.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's see. Where's the Philippine peso? Where is PPPP? Where's P?
PHP. You can do PHP. It's easier if you type it in Google.
The Philippines. The Philippine peso, yeah. The Philippine peso. All right, so how many pesos altogether?
Yeah, so 2,499 pesos.
All right, we'll call it 2,500.
Yeah.
$40. That's crazy. $40. So last time I was in, and I think I shared this with you on your live stream. Yeah. Last time I was in the Philippines, and you know, I was going kind of crazy. You know, I was like going to a couple of bars, having a good time. I think I spent like 20,000 pesos. Which in my mind, I'm like, damn, like I broke the bank, right? Dude, 20,000 is like $324, which I mean, it is a lot. Don't get me wrong, for one single night. I mean, that is kind of a flex to say that. But for the amount of drinks that I got and, you know, the bottle service and everything else, again, like you're getting bottle service with this stuff, right? You're getting food,
for that kind of money.
You're getting everything, like all of that.
You have your own section.
Yeah, your own section, like it's private, you know, it's away from all the riffraff. I mean, that you'd be spending easily $1,500 to $2,000 in the United States. Like it's ridiculous.
More, man. Like I remember, like just kind of comparing two different locations. There's like Miami, you know, you could be spending you could drop down $3,000 to $6,000, you know, in a night. you know, bottle service, sections, etc. Obviously, you could split that with people, but that's still egregious in my opinion. And then, you know, in LA, like. I mean, for the money you just paid for, I don't know how many drinks you got, but in LA, that's like two two mixed alcoholic beverages in a bar.
Yeah,
You know?
and I mean, like, I think a shot of, because I was on my Jamie, my
Nice.
Jamie wave. Yep. So I was doing like Jameson the entire night, and I think each shot of Jameson was like $4.50. Like each shot. So think about that. Like each shot. You go to the States and you ask for a shot of Jameson. I mean, that's going to run you 10 or 12 bucks by itself.
100%.
It's absolutely crazy. So we have a comment from Wolf. Retire on dividends in the Philippines. I know my wife pays property taxes, but it's like $100 a year for a $50,000 USD home.
So I can speak to this. There are cases where property taxes can be relatively affordable. I don't know how it is outside of Philippines, but I know the Philippines pretty well. It depends on how you classify the land that your property is built on, you know? So that's kind of probably why it's so affordable. Also depends on the region. There's so many islands here in the Philippines, so it really just varies. But yeah, I'll give you guys an example, right? Do your own research. You can classify your land, if it gets approved, as farmland. Farmland is going to cost you way less in property taxes than in a residential plot of land or a commercial, especially a commercial plot of land. That's kind of where it runs you too. So that's just some friendly research tips.
So we also have to retire on dividends because I shared how many IBIT shares I bought. Let me just answer that because I would like to answer that. For my IBIT shares, I did some buys Friday night and or Friday evening, whatever, before the market closed, and I also bought today. So I'm up to 4,000 IBIT shares, which was way ahead of what I was intentionally trying to buy. But I mean, Bitcoin at this price, in my opinion, is a no-brainer. So I went out and bought a ton of IBITs. We also have, let's see. Rasaman says, I tried watching y'all on X. It sucks. Well, X is sometimes sucky. And we have from CSAT Capital. Where in the Philippines do you live? I'm from Davao, and my wife is from Angeles.
I'm in Cebu.
Man, there we go. Cebu's. I got to go to Cebu. I got to go to Boracay. I got to go to all those places. We have from MJ Bowhunter saying, steak and lobster with escargot appetizer, 40 ringgits or about $12.
Nice. Where is this at? Is this in Penang or is this in KL? I'm curious. I was just in KL in December.
What's a ringgit? Hold on.
Malaysian ringgit, MYR.
Oh, it's Malaysian.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I was like, is that in Penang or is that in Kuala Lumpur, KL? Yeah, there you go.
Damn, you're more traveled than me. I didn't even know what a ringgit was. That's crazy.
I've only just recently gone there. That was my first time. It was incredible. I'll say this, like, best.
Oh my god.
Like, honestly, I was shocked. It made me feel, isn't that crazy? $10 for 40.73 Malaysian ringgit.
Steak, lobster, escargot. $10.
$10. I think he mentioned Penang earlier, so I wonder if that's where it was. But yeah, crazy. Honestly, when I was there, it was great. I enjoyed myself.
So we have from Retire on Dividends. I pay $8,000 a year on property tax for less than 2,000 square feet.
Oh,
that could be $8,000. That could take care of like 2 months worth of living expenses. Like, I'm just BSing. I don't know. But man, that is crazy. Yes, MJ Bowhunter said he's mentioned Penang.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Eugene.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that makes sense because like KL is a little bit more upscale. I was like, that would probably run you like maybe $150, but that's a great value of $150 to be honest. Yeah, Penang's cool. I haven't been there. That's the next on my list for next time we're in Malaysia. It's about location. True. So Santo Domingo.
Says, Santo Domingo. The exchange rate is 1 RD, 58 US.
Very similar to Philippines. Right now, Philippines is like 61 pesos for I think $1. It's crazy.
Man, I gotta get my game up, man. I gotta go to these other places. I haven't been to Costa Rica since that one time. That was years ago.
Yep.
I definitely want to go back and maybe like try to explore, the freaking forest or not the forest, the jungles that they have. and trying not to get, bit by mosquitoes and get, like malaria. Let's see what we have here. Rastaman says, what up, Wolf and Skeptic? And we also have from Wolf, my wife wants to retire back to the Philippines and do some traveling to Thailand and Vietnam. I would
Nice.
travel to Vietnam.
I was just in Vietnam last month. Yeah, it was pretty sweet there. I went to Ho Chi Minh, Phu Quoc, and then Da Nang. Yeah, those are all great places, especially Da Nang. I really liked it a lot, not gonna lie. I thought it was hype. It really reminds me of Miami.
I was going to go to Da Nang, whatever. I was going to go there this year, but then the timing didn't work out. So my friend ended up going with his girl, and I keep kicking myself because I was going to reserve like a beachfront property, for a hotel that had like overlooking the ocean and everything. Like it was. And what's crazy was, so this was like a 4-star hotel, right? Maybe by their standards, but this thing was freaking top notch. It had an indoor sauna. It had freaking 2 or 3 pools. It had everything, and it was gonna run me, I think, like $75 a night, like ridiculous. And it had all these amenities. It was right by the beachfront, not too far from kind of the action. And I was like, man, this is like, I want to go, but the timing was so off, and we didn't make it. So is what it is. So right now it is about.
I'm gonna show you.
Go ahead.
No. What were you gonna say? Sorry. After that, I want to show like the Airbnb I stayed at. It's crazy.
Oh, go ahead, pull it up, and then you should be able to add it to the screen, and then I can pull it up. But I just wanted to cover real quick the futures market. Right now, the S&P 500 is still hovering in the green at 81 basis points. That is awesome. Nasdaq up 1.58%. All right, so we'll see if semiconductors can pull through because I think they're still down quite a bit. Let's see what SMH is doing if it's getting any love. Let's see. SMH up 4.11% in the pre-market. So SMH is getting some love.
Wow,
right.
Let's go.
That's all I'm talking about. Let's see what else we got here. We have Wolfen, hello, Rodstamon. We have Rodstamon saying Eugene needs to visit the Netherlands. They have great cigars from around the world.
Vietnam too.
Really? Vietnam?
Go to. So I don't know about Da Nang, but in Ho Chi Minh, there is a cigar lounge place that has a lot of options. You would be ecstatic. They got whiskey. They got it all, man.
So, hold on. Have you ever had a Filipino cigar? Because I see them at the airport. And are they good or are they kind of like trash?
No, you know what? Like, I haven't tried them all. I had one in particular. I can't remember the name. I'll have to search and share it with you later. But yeah, it was pretty good, honestly. It wasn't like if you wanted something very smooth, not too harsh. I'm not great when it comes to the names for different cigar types, but yeah, I had one before in the past. Actually, I had more than one, but yeah, it was really good.
Awesome. Let's see. I know. Well, here in Thailand, they have cigars from Cuba. They got all the usual lineups. They have like every cigar, but the only problem is like it's double marked up or even triple marked up. So for like a $10 or $15 steak, you're going to be paying like $30 or $45 at some of these places. So like anytime I leave the country and I go to buy cigars, like I usually come back with like a bundle because I only smoke one on special occasions, of course.
Yeah.
This talk has nothing to do with me smoking cigars, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Right?
Wait. Curious question. By the way, I did share the screen if you want to pull that up next, but if you can share, how exactly were you able to bring them from somewhere else back to Thailand?
I put them in my bag. I just put them in my bag, and I was like, Thailand has a 50 cigar limit or something like that, right?
Oh, okay, cool.
So I'll bring 50, but I have friends that come from out of town, and they know that I can't get cigars here, or I can, but it's too expensive. So they'll bring me like bundles, or I'll put an order in, and it'll ship to their home, and then they'll come through, and then they'll just hand it off to me. So I call them my cigar mules, So, real quick, we have from Wolf, Eugene, you're retired and single. I think you can. I think so. How can timing be the problem? Well, I have other things, other commitments sometimes that take up that time. We have from Sinusac Capital, the annual communications of Mason, I assume Mason, will be held in Cebu, April 2028. I will be there. I will keep that in mind. Maybe I can make it out that way. Obviously, it'd be good to meet you in person, Nomad for sure. And then we have from AM Farms, aka the sauce maker, looking at Tina's area right now.
Etenas. Let's go. That's a great area.
Is that where's that at? Is that in the Philippines?
That's in Costa Rica. Costa Rica. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Costa Rica, nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm geographically,
challenged.
Yeah, challenged. There's a more political way of saying it. So what are we looking at? Share us with the audience. What are we looking at right here?
Yeah. So this is just like an example, right? Like this is the Airbnb we stayed at when we were in Da Nang. So we were overlooking Mai Key Beach, right? Pretty sweet view. Like, it didn't really look much different than this. Let's see. Hold on. Let me pull up a different type of photo. Obviously, like this is the building right here, and then this is like the beach walking distance. It was incredible there, man. Incredible. This is not the exact one we stayed at, but yeah, very spacious, very big. Actually, this one looks like a studio. The one we stayed in was a lot bigger than this, but yeah, it was massive. Honestly, I could compare it to probably like a 800-900 square foot apartment, in the US. Actually, this is what I wanted to show you. So like, this is on the higher end, don't get me wrong, but this is like $82 per night. But I paid around, I think it was like 50 or 60 bucks a night for the one that I stayed at, just different time, I guess.
Man, that's freaking awesome. So we never really touched on investing. We've been talking about like living abroad and all these cool things and everything else. And so I want to make sure, at least, for the audience sake, at least we cover a little bit of investing stuff before we get to the investing stuff, because we have the market opening here in about 30 minutes. I do want to add this to the stage. We have BM&R buying 126,000 ETH worth $213 million.
He's still going at it. Let's go.
Hey, he's still going. Hey, my boy Tom Lee is still at it. Let's give him a round of applause here. Obviously been unloved. All right, BM&R has been taking so much flack. Tom Lee has been getting pretty much his butt kicked by the Ethereum price action. But I am still very bullish on BM&R. We also have from CoinDesk. All right, Strategy just announced that they acquired 1,550 Bitcoin. All right, in this last buy, that is a massive amount. And the market sold off of 32 Bitcoin, but he bought 100. I mean, come on,
that was a smart move.
Let's not be silly here and say that Sailor can't pay the dividend and Strategy is going to go in the toilet. Let's not be stupid here. All right, that's the honest thing. He just bought 1,500 Bitcoin. All right, so let's go down like that. We're just out here making W's all day. All right, so let's check out the futures real quick. Let's check out futures, see what's going on. All right, S&P 500 up. Still 82 basis points. I haven't found any breaking news, but I know that there's a lot of chatter right now about a possible announcement coming up for Iran and the U.S. and Israel. So hopefully we get that, and hopefully that is what pumps this market up, and we can put this whole nonsense behind us. Because, man, it's been going on way too long, way too long. So getting back to investing. What's kind of on your mind for your portfolio, your way ahead? Like what are you like focused on? Well, let me back up. Let me back up a bit. So we know you're living overseas.
Yeah.
One, what is occupying your time? And then two, where does investing kind of fit in all of this? Like what is your take on kind of investing in AI or ETFs, high yield, whatever, right? Kind of share some of those thoughts.
Yeah, it's very interesting because like if there's anyone who like truly has been watching my channel, obviously I know Eugen and some other guys here have, that like I kind of started it based on this high yield stuff, but what really like came about was like I have my own obviously personal portfolio, which I don't share. It's completely private, and I only invest in growth. Like stocks, growth ETFs, right? So for me personally, like I'm very bullish on the AI space. A lot of people talk about the AI bubble, which I'm not going to say that's not a factual thing. But I personally believe like if you truly know enough about AI, like I do, and I'm sure Eugen, you may be in a similar boat. I don't want to make assumptions, but I believe based on conversations we've had, you are. You can tell that this is still so early. I know a lot of people like to, refer or like reference to the .com bubble and how that was, but you take a look, there were winners from that came about that started during the .com bubble. You have obviously like so many tech companies that have succeeded, many that failed as well, but truthfully, Nvidia has been around for a long time. I think it's here to stay. Palantir is not going anywhere. A lot of these big name companies are not going. Look at SanDisk. SanDisk wasn't even like it was just doing normal stuff, and more recently, like due to the memory shortages and everything, it's going crazy. Semiconductors, you can never go wrong with that. We're only getting more and more technologically advanced, and if you're well versed enough in like the whole AI chip and computing industry, you would understand that like the only disadvantage China, and I know I'm not trying to get political here, but the only disadvantage China has, China has from the U.S. is specifically, I think it's like EUV computing or EVU computing, excuse me, and that's a very like that's actually a technology that's produced, if I remember correctly, like I think it's in Europe. I can't remember which region, but yeah, that's what's kind of like setting this up. But we still lack databases. Like we don't have enough computing power. There still needs to be more memory. Memory needs to be continuously improved. Obviously, Google is trying to solve a lot of problems. Google's a big one. And I know I'm kind of like speaking broadly here, but I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to the AI space. And I'm sharing these big names, of course. There's also smaller companies too. I'm not going to go into detail of every single one, but there's plenty of companies that are focused on quantum computing. But honestly, a lot of sleepers are not so much the AI obvious companies. They're more of the companies that aren't producing the LLMs. Everyone's focused on OpenAI. They're focused on Anthropic. They're focused on Gemini, which is great. Don't get me wrong. But I think companies that are more interesting to take a look at is companies that are providing any kind of database access, database server usage, even companies that are building like database centers, especially like that, like those physical brick and mortar companies. I call them brick and mortar, but it's really like, I guess, server, like more manufacturing, less software, it's more hardware stuff. Again, Nvidia's kind of playing a big part in this. They're kind of collabing the both of those two worlds together. But yeah, that's why I'm so bullish on it, because people don't understand the thing that the .com bubble lacked, in my personal opinion, and there's so much, I'm sure, more than what I'm about to share, is .com bubble is based on like complete speculation, right? Like I come from the tech world, the tech industry. I've raised money for startups in the past, right? And if you understand anything about evaluations and seed funding and Series A, Series B, et cetera, right? You understand that a lot of times it's perceived expected value. It's not true value. For instance, Anthropic might be losing millions of dollars every single day. I'm just making this up. Millions of dollars every single day, right? Because they're charging such a little price relative to what they're having to spend on a daily basis by giving someone a $20 a month, subscription, $100 a month, $200 a month, even those. And even APIs are relatively cheap compared to what it truly should be, right? And people just don't understand this yet. So right now, I'm so bullish on AI. I really am. I don't see. I think if I was more of a normie, I just looked at AI as like this evil thing, which I'm not going to say it's good. I'm not going to say it's evil. It's what's coming. It's what's here, and it's what's going to continue, I believe, to stay. But if I came from that perspective, I would understand that like I don't know enough. But with what I know, with what I've seen, the companies that I've worked with in the past, doing consulting and stuff, I know AI is only going to progress. But I will say AI is still not anywhere near where it needs to be. And I know I'm going on a little rant here, Eugen, so excuse me, but I'll give you guys an example. Many of these, big tech companies have been making all their employees use API, right? Like tokens, right? Basically, they've had millions of dollars in tokens for the budget for the year. And not even like, 5-6 months in, June, right? June's the 6th month of the year, correct? Yeah, so not even like, I think it was like last month, they released reports like, hey, they already blew through their budget for tokens. So now what's happening is companies that even have that kind of budget in the first place, they're starting to say, hey, let's dial it back a bit. Let's not use AI so much as we have been, and they still need that manpower that people are saying, oh, AI is going to take, right? Which I'm not going to say it won't in the future. I think there's levels to this, but if you understand AI enough, you understand there has to be a human in the loop, at least with how it's currently designed, at least how it's currently built. And it's not perfect. It's far from, and that's because of the guardrails, right? I'm going to get a little bit granular. Sorry, I'm getting nerdy here, guys. A lot of people don't understand this. When you are using a ChatGPT subscription, when you are using a Claude subscription, when you're using a Gemini subscription, when you're using any of these big mainstream companies, LLM providers, AI providers, as they call it, they're giving you a quantized version of their AI that they originally created. Also, they are having restrictions on it with good reason, right? And because of those restrictions, it's not going to be as intelligent of a model to the public, and even to to a certain degree, it's a little bit different with governments, but even same with government, because without any guardrails, without a fence around it, it's going to just do whatever it pleases if you prompt it, right? And that's what the biggest marketing language has been surrounding mythos from Anthropic. You guys have been checking that news out, which I personally think is a little bit hype. They're trying to just get more valuations, because again, I come from the tech world, I come from the startup world, I've raised money. You want investors, you want shareholders to be like, I want to throw more money, I want to get more more shareholding power in this org, in this company. But again, they are not there yet. We are not there yet. And I truly believe that even though we have this money circle kind of going around, rotation, at the end of the day, what's really needs to be paid close attention to is not these mainstream companies. Even though I love Google, even though I think Google is probably the number one, I'm bullish for saying this. I'm kind of bold and confident for saying this. I think Google is the number one AI company that no one ever really pays close attention to. Everyone talks about Nvidia. I love Nvidia, AMD, Anthropic, OpenAI, of course. But Google is building revolutionary technology. They are even making it so that there's turbo quant, for instance. So it's quantum computing, basically, that helps bring, and I'm simplifying it, right? That basically brings the memory from a 31 billion parameter all the way down to for instance, turbo quant, 4 billion parameter, which that most people don't understand what that means. But if you had a generic computer, you can't run the 31 billion parameter locally for free, right? But if you had a 4 billion parameter, you can run it no problem. Now, most people aren't probably going to take the time to learn how to run it locally, but think about data centers. Data centers don't have enough computing power right now. So if you can figure out how can you increase or allow them to access these models at a higher Brilliant parameter without spending the computing power of that original parameter, then original power, then you can get it down to something less. You can be using a lot of models for a lot cheaper of a cost, right? So again, that's a whole whirlwind of that, but that's why I'm so bullish on AI. That's why I'm investing a lot into AI companies, especially on the more private side of my portfolio. In terms of the public side, the one that I'm promoting on the channel and everything, and I'm trying to get back into making videos consistently for you guys. It's just been a pretty hectic time. I've been enjoying life. What's been occupying my time, Eugen, has been honestly my business, my clients. I'll speak to this. I'm currently stepping into a new niche or new-ish, and this is more for experimentation purposes because I have a big grand vision for this. But I've been building AI agents for specific companies. There isn't a specific company niche that I'm focusing on just yet. And the reason why is I'm learning different businesses, operations. I'm learning their different use cases and seeing where is the bottlenecks for each and every single company. And that is allowing me to collect data, not so much data I'm collecting their personal data, but okay, this is how companies use A is using this is how company B is using this, and seeing where are the similar gaps between all three of them. And is there some way that I can either capitalize on building a IP product or AI software based on that, right? Not some AI slop stuff, but that is kind of what's occupying my time. I'm spending a lot of time and effort, literally vibe coding. But again, it's not, coding is not my background originally. I'm a self-taught coder, but I didn't do it as a profession. But I understand the languages. I understand how they work. I understand the frameworks, and I'm fortunate enough to have access to people in my network who are much smarter and more intelligent in that space than I am. So they're guiding me in the right direction. So that way I'm not like making some nonsense. But that's occupying my time. I also like to go to the gym a lot. I also like to go out with friends a lot. You know, when I say go out with friends, I'm not talking about going clubbing. That stuff doesn't really interest me as much anymore. But typically I like to just like sit back, talk business ideas, talk life, just talk like goals and visions and stuff like that. And then, I'm mostly working, honestly, like, and not because I have to, right? Because I want to, you know? And then I'm also traveling a lot too. Like that's kind of, again, why downsize. I didn't have to. I could easily still be doing the same amount of traveling as I want to, but I want my money to go a lot further, right? So did I miss anything?
No, that was awesome, and thank you for sharing. I think the audience definitely enjoyed that. I certainly did. I mean, you touched on a lot of key points. Aside from the technology and the AI stuff, I mean, like you're running a business overseas, you're living overseas, and you're basically eating your own cooking, right? So whatever you kill is what you eat. And obviously, the metaphor is that you have to get after it every single day. You have to hustle every single day. And you're building agentic AIs for companies, and that's kind of your niche. And I mean, it's obviously working out well for you. So that's amazing. I mean, that's really cool. I just want to share with the audience right now, DRAM, the DRAM ETF from Roundhill is up 8%.
Let's go.
Up 8%. That is amazing. That is an amazing recovery. It's back to $60.35. All right. It looks like things are starting to turn around. We also have some other news that came out that I want to cover real quickly. All right, so we have from Shea Bowler. Amazon announced a multi-billion-dollar deal with GLW, which is Corning. All right, Corning makes fiber optic cables. All right, to supply optical fiber, cable, and connectivity solutions for its U.S. data center build-out. That is extremely bullish for Corning. So anyone that owns GLW, congratulations. But this continues to show the move towards fiber optics, right? A move toward away from copper and to fiber optics. Now, copper is still going to be an important part of the story. All right. I wouldn't count copper out. I think copper is actually breaking out right now. I haven't checked on it in some time. I actually ended up selling out of my copper miner position. But that is a big deal, right? Copper has an amazing story ahead of it. Right. So the deal expands Amazon's domestic fiber supply.
That's huge news.
What was that?
No, that's huge news. Honestly, like that's exactly what I'm talking about. See, it's companies that are investing into infrastructure. That's the correct term that I was looking for earlier. Yeah, they're investing into the infrastructure, which is where AI is truly lacking right now. Honestly, we don't need smarter models. The tech industry might say, oh, like we need more intelligent models. Like, and people who don't know what they're talking about are even saying the same thing. But reality is like it's good as it is currently. We need infrastructure. We need more computing power. We need more data centers. A lot of people don't want to hear this, but it's just what we need.
Yeah. I mean, you guys can see here over the last month, it's down 5%. Over the last 6 months, up 101% for Corning. All right. Whoa. Again, Corning makes fiber optic cables. They got a huge deal with Lumens Technology. They own a bunch of dark fiber at the moment. I think my long-term thesis is that dark fiber is going to get turned on. All right. But anyways, Corning is definitely a name to keep an eye on. I don't know at these levels if it's worth buying. Honestly, I'd probably wait for a bigger pullback from Corning, but that is extremely bullish news. We also have from First Squawk. Nvidia evaluates Intel's advanced packaging and 18A process for future chips. So This is additional onshoring of chip manufacturing. So again, that's bullish for Intel. Anyone who's in Intel, I'm pretty sure Intel is ripping on this news. Let me see, actually, if Intel is indeed ripping. Ladies and gentlemen, we have about 8 minutes until the market open. The market open will do for the first maybe 10, 15 minutes. And then I have to get going, and I'm sure Nomad investor also has to get going. So we see Intel is up 10 or 11% in the pre-market. All right, Intel is up 11% in the pre-market based on this news. And I wish I could log into my Robinhood on this freaking browser, but I can't. At the moment, I will get it going on the next stream. I actually forgot my password, so I can't get it up because I would actually like to show everybody the live tickers. We have from MJ Bowhunters. Semi chips are transforming from what they used to be, from materials to thick, to SI to photons. Yep.
Photons are huge.
Yep. Photonics is having an amazing, and actually Marvell is now a part of the S&P 500. Marvell is focusing on the whole photonics story, right? So they're coming out with CPOs, co-packaged optics, and a bunch of whole other stuff. So that is really, really cool. We have from MJ Bowhunter, so the whole industry is transforming, and that is 100% true. We also have from Tradesman. Thanks for the early for me morning live, and you're welcome. I don't know if we'll be doing lives every single day. This was kind of off the cuff. This was just a collaboration between me and Nomad Investor. Again, for anyone who does not know Nomad Investor, you guys can check them out here. For any audience on Nomad Investor's channel, this is me. All right,
check out
you can also check me out at Eugen Invest is my second channel where the live streams will be held in the future. So you guys can check me out there as well. Cool. Let's see what else we got here. Excuse me. Man, there's like a lot of crazy news coming out, and I'm trying to find like
insane.
Some of the juicier news. We still don't have an update on Iran or a U.S. announcement regarding that. There's a lot of tit for tat, a lot of missiles. Look at that. Nasdaq up 1.89%, almost breaking the 2%. That is incredible. That is incredible. Let's see what else we got. Damn, I don't even know what to talk about. We're just talking about so much stuff, man.
I mean,
that was really cool.
Have you seen, Eugen, SpaceX? Like, I think it's like Google's making an agreement with SpaceX to use like their data centers, or like paying them monthly or something like that. It's some crazy number. Let me see if I could pull it up.
Yeah, so I did see Anthropic, and
Anthropic was.
Yeah.
Google's also now.
Yeah, they're using SpaceX's data centers because Grok is not going to be a top tier LLM.
No.
And they have all this data center space. So SpaceX is going to launch and sort of be profitable, not really be profitable, but they'll sort of be profitable. $360 million a month, yes, and they have a deal with SpaceX to basically, if they don't reach the capacity that they're asking for, what Google will do is amend that contract, or they can cancel it out. Anthropic is paying almost $1 billion a month.
Crazy.
$1 billion a month for the data center space. So that is crazy. Yeah, 900 million. That's what Google is getting charged by
920 million.
God, man.
I feel like it goes up every single news article that I see of them. Like this is posted, I think, maybe about like a couple hours ago, or a few hours ago, 4 hours ago, excuse me. Yeah, it just increases every single time. I don't know. Look, this is why like I'm telling you guys, like AI is here to stay. There may be some companies that for sure are gonna, like, I'll give you an example. Allbirds. Let's talk about Allbirds for a second. If anyone has been following companies that have been all of a sudden pivoting to AI, Allbirds, which is a shoe brand, if you're not familiar, they transitioned, this is like weeks ago, if not almost a month now, they transitioned to an AI company, right? And that immediately skyrocketed their stock, right? And that just tells you, like, that's an AI bubble company. That's a company that I'm not 100% confident is here to stay, right? But companies that have been building building into what has led into this industry for many, many years, they are here to stay. Like Taiwan Semiconductor Company, as an example. I'm not saying to invest in that, by the way. I'm just giving it as an example here, okay? But Taiwan Semiconductor Company, they've been around for a long time building, chips, using silicon, all that stuff, silicon chips for many different devices, computers, screens, LCDs, all that stuff, right? And more, but mostly powering smartphones, smart devices. You got cars, you got so much technology that's helping with, right? And at the end of the day, look at where their market has switched from. It's switched from like just your typical hardware technology to what's going on right now with AI and data centers and servers and all that stuff. So,
do you think we're in a bull market, or are we in a bear market with everything that's going on now?
That is so tough to say. That is really tough to say. We've been getting, I think, I hope this is appropriate for me to say, we've been getting kind of knee-jerked by a lot of different influences, One being obviously the current administration. They have been very vocal compared to previous administrations, which has led to, I think, a roller coaster for all of us, right? And this has not been exclusive to this year. This has not been exclusive to just AI. We've kind of been seeing this since even like the previous years. I think it was actually last year, in the beginning of the year, where it kind of really took off and started. But it's tough to say because like there are sectors that are doing extremely well, and there are sectors that are not doing extremely well. But if we look at like the S&P and these, indexes and stuff like that, I would say like besides tech, like things are kind of just neutral, in my opinion. Of course, if you're investing in high yield ETFs, for instance, like I was, and being a degenerate, well, then you're going to see like negative 80%, negative 90%, but that's not because the market is actually like going down so terribly, right? That's actually because these are very highly volatile investments, right? So if you're investing into like growth ETFs, growth positions, growth stocks, that kind of stuff, dividend stocks, and I'm not telling you to invest in them, I'm just saying in general, right? For this example, I think, you're relatively either doing well, doing okay, or just doing meh. Like I'll give you an example. I have a friend, he has a sub-$1 million portfolio, right? He's primarily invested into Nvidia. So when Nvidia is down 6% like today, he's down about like maybe like $60,000, $70,000, right? Depending. And he's no longer as he says, a millionaire, but which he never even touches, by the way. He lives like crazy, Eugene. It's insane. He lives like someone who doesn't have any money. But
yeah, that's good.
That's I'm painting that picture but relative to his portfolio size, that's such an insignificant number. It sounds big to like someone with maybe $100,000 portfolio, but if your $100,000 portfolio is down like 6%, that's what, like $6,000, right?
Yeah.
So
real quick, ladies and gentlemen, the market is finally open. It is 9:30. Thank you guys for being with us during this moment. And it does look like the market is, let's see if it's going to start pumping or if it's going to start dumping. I mean, put it in the chat what you guys think. Dumping or pumping? Because right now my portfolio dropped just a little bit. Yeah, I think it's probably going to drop. We'll see. I mean, futures was looking tough. I mean, futures looking real tough, but we will see as the day goes on. Boom.
Oh, here we go.
All right, so I can't wait. I got to get Robinhood on this damn thing so I can actually show as the chart was going down or whatever. That would have been so cool for the stream, but maybe next time. Maybe next time. All right, so high yield. Are you still interested in high yield? I'll tell you right now, from my point of view, I've lost pretty much the interest. Not because I think it's bad or anything else. I mean, they do exactly what they're supposed to do. Everyone's like, oh, NAV erosion, blah 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 blah. It's like, okay, like we get it. Like, yes, funds that pay out 100% distribution go down in value. Like, duh. Like, you think you're gonna get free money? Like, that's not the way life works, unfortunately. But now we have like the QQQIs, the SPYIs, right? The more safer index-based ETFs. Now you have Curve. Their single stock ETFs have been doing well, but just no one liked them because they were,
they're not degenerate enough. They're not degenerate.
You're not getting a high enough yield, right? And of course, Roundhill fell out of favor after we ran into the bear market. But like for me, I don't want to add to them anymore. I don't want to buy anymore. I'm happy where I'm at. If I'm going to buy anything, it's probably going to be like OVL, maybe an index-based ETF, income ETF. But what is your thoughts now that you've been through the ringer already? Like, where are you at with all of this?
Yeah. That's very interesting. So like, I'm saying this with the utmost respect for, I don't care. I'm just going to speak how I'm going to say. All right. So like my portfolio, like you guys all saw it, like it was getting closer to the $10,000 region. And what ends up happening is I end up losing the entirety of my portfolio due to getting a liquidation call. That's just being degenerate in general, right? And the reason why is because I'm invested into primarily these very highly volatile, high risk, leveraged ETFs, Now, I don't have any like bad sentiment towards, high yield anymore, but I don't think it's the vehicle that is best used. Even, and again, I'm not just using this channel for entertainment purposes. This is also like an experiment and seeing like, hey, is this an investment worth potentially pivoting to even in my private investments, right? So my consensus is high yield is no longer exciting to me. I agree with you on these indexed ETFs like SPYI, QQQI. I think those are pretty much here to stay. They're not going anywhere. And, I think they're going to continue to do well within reason. But I think what's more interesting to me is just vesting into what I've always known to be true in terms of what works. And that's growth. That's growth stocks, growth ETFs, especially growth ETFs. I think it takes a lot of the guesswork out of investing. You obviously, my opinion is like when things are dipping more, that's the time to go in a little bit more if you're able to. And yeah, it's not paying. I mean, you get dividend ETFs as well, which is completely fine, completely normal. Or dividend growth ETFs, even if you want to get a little bit more flavorsome with it. But ultimately, I think that's just like the tried and true method. I definitely want to be experimenting more with some risky positions. It's just the inner degen in me. I come from a crypto background, so bear with me here. But I know how to do my risk. Like manage my risk. A lot of people, they see my channel, they see the way that I've invested. This isn't my big port. This isn't my main port. This is a very, very tiny allocation in retrospect to what I actually invest into. And in fact, my main port has none of these positions typically, except if you see me like invest in like Google or Nvidia or something like that, right? Or SMH, for instance, right? So yeah, does that kind of answer your question, Eugen?
Yeah, no, it absolutely did. And while you were talking, I was trying to look for maybe a live map that we can kind of put up, but I can't seem to find anything good enough. I was trying to log into my Robinhood while you were talking, and I don't want to time myself out and get locked out. But yeah, that's pretty good. That I think that I've come full circle as well. I think a lot of us have. There are some income investors. We have Sinusat Capital in the chat. I mean, he has a pretty large portfolio of all high yield ETFs. But he's making it work. Yeah, like some people, they can make it work. They can make it work for them. Not all ETFs are bad, I guess.
Correct.
It depends. What. It really depends. Like if you're gonna now we know. Right now we know from all this, trial and error, like what you should have in a portfolio. If you want a little more degeneracy, you're going to do like maybe the weekly pays.
Yeah.
If you want some more stable stuff, maybe more index-based stuff. If you want, thematic plays, something like a chippy, a chippy would be do very well in this environment because semiconductors are doing so well. So, I'm trying to, man, I really wish I could freaking log into Robinhood.
I'm even trying it on my end for like the FinViz. It's just not working right now.
Hold on a second. I can do it this way. I don't want to do it this way. But you know what? We'll do it for the live stream. We'll do it for the lives.
While you're doing that, I will say, like one thing too about like high yield ETFs, I love hearing about what would you say his name was? Sandy Invest or something like that?
Oh, Sinusat Capital?
Sinusat Capital, yeah. So like I think what's really cool is like there is ways to win in that space. I just think for the average person, they're not a sophisticated enough investor, right? Or they're not going to allocate the amount of time and effort that goes into that. I don't know exactly how Sydney goes about it, but I can only imagine, the level of attention that it requires, right? Paying attention to alerts and et cetera, right? So that's just speculation. I don't really know how they go about it, but yeah.
Look at that. Look at DRAM. Look at DRAM pumping. Bro, look at DRAM. Damn.
Let's go.
So we got DRAM looking like it's trying to pump a little higher. Let's take a look at RVI. I ended up selling my RVI. Not doing the best, but not doing the worst either. but not doing the best. I had this thing at 200%, bro. I should have sold, but I was like, let me take a screenshot.
You had BMNR. What was the percent? Oh my gosh, man.
BMNR, man. Hey, this looks nasty now, but I promise, I'm not promising you or the audience. I'm promising
yourself.
Yeah, promising myself. There we go. That when tokenization and when Bitcoin, because there's a Bitcoin Ethereum ratio, and that is true. When Bitcoin starts to really run, Ethereum is going to run, and BMNR is going to be the micro strategy or micro tragedy of Ethereum. And I know this thing is just, hey, we got it. I got it at the wrong time, so it is what it is. It sucks to suck, but I'm not giving up on BMNR or Ethereum for that matter. Let's see what else we got. SMH is up almost 4.5%. Looks like it's pumping or trying to pump. So we do have SMH trying to pump here. Let's see what else we got. We got Meta. Let's see what Meta's doing. I don't own a position in Meta. Let's see. So it looks like Meta's trading down, unfortunately. Looks like Meta is trading down. It is down 1.4% over the last week. Yeah, it's just kind of going down here. All right, let's take a look at the Qs. What are the Qs doing? Look at that. Man, that was a crazy drop. And it does look like it is starting to pump back up. Again, the Q's up 1.5% on the day. Let's see what COP is doing. So COP is copper. It was having a breakout. Yeah, so it lost some gains.
It's still a pretty good chart, though. We're seeing some upward action, but anything could go.
Yeah, I'm bullish on copper. I mean, I don't own a position anymore, but I am bullish on copper. Let's see I gotta check Bitcoin. Come on, Bitcoin, do your thing, do your magic, Bitcoin. All right, for Bitcoin, oh yeah, you can ignore all those.
I'm not gonna ignore it. That's beautiful.
For Bitcoin, we are up 2.17% on the day, hovering around the 6,300 level, 63,000 level. So 63.4. So not too bad. Better than what we were. We were at 59, like 59 and change on Friday. So it looks like we had a really good, recovery. And it's funny. I mean, hey, I covered it. Power law, man. The power law has not failed yet. Doesn't mean it won't fail, but it hasn't failed yet. Speaking of which, do you own any Bitcoin yourself?
Yeah. So I have a crazy story. I don't think I've shared this on the channel at all. But I'll share it here on the live stream because why not? So actually I invested into Bitcoin back in 2016, 2015. I think it was 2016. Yeah, 2016. It was the summer of 2016. It was like $500 per Bitcoin, it was a pretty crazy story. It sounded great, right? But it ended in tragedy. I was too lazy. I was too lazy at the time to learn how to actually purchase it myself because people who are new to Bitcoin or crypto don't know this. It used to be extremely difficult, very high friction to purchase cryptocurrency, let alone Bitcoin in particular, right? But this is before Coinbase made everything easy, pretty much. Long story short, I had someone that I thought I trusted invest into it for me because he was pretty well versed on how to do it. And I found out once Bitcoin hit $20,000 and I wanted to hit sell on the amount that I purchased. So $20,000 per Bitcoin. I was asking him, hey, can you sell it for me? And then just send me the cash, And of course, that didn't happen. Yeah. So I have a pretty
No way.
Yeah, it was crazy. Man, I don't know how much I can say on this stream. Long story short, I forgot to mention, I also had other friends invest, into Bitcoin, and they used this same concept. Again, a friend that I thought I trusted, right?
Oh no.
A big combination of, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I remember we filed a lawsuit against this guy. And it was a whole ordeal. And basically they said hey, there's nothing we can do. You invested in what we consider, this is the US government talking to us, right? We don't consider this a real currency. You invested into something that we don't even acknowledge. So you're stupid for that. That's what they told us back in the day. And it's not that long ago, but years later, I got back into it in 2017. 2020, of course, and I continue to invest into it. I actually sold my entire Bitcoin position. Oh man, what was this? This is right before it started. I think it was at all-time highs, pretty much, almost at all-time highs. I think it was like I want to say like 80 or 90,000 or something at the time. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't even remember at this point. But yeah, and then I started DCAing back in. So I'm not full ported into it, but Bitcoin has been good to me, as well as bad.
Damn, bro. You could, oh my God. I don't even want to ask how much Bitcoin you lost, dude. That is like.
No, I'm not going to say that on stream.
I'm sick just hearing it. I'm so sick just hearing it. Damn.
Talk about being gutted, man. I was gutted. Let's just say I would not be doing, I mean, maybe for fun, like here and there, but I would not be doing any consulting like I do now. I would not be making AI agents for people right now. I would just be like,
you'd be a Bitcoin OG. You'd be a Bitcoin OG.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I would have like, honestly, I think the ideal setup, this is just between you and me, Eugene. We're just, shooting the crap here. I think the ultimate setup is having no more than 10% of your net worth, or my net worth, or your net worth, Eugene, not the people watching, in crypto. I would say like 5% in, you could do more if you want, at least like 5%, if not more, into Bitcoin. If you're really bullish, do all 10, and then, maybe another 5% in ETH. But honestly, for me, I'm just a Bitcoin maxi, it's like all that 10% would be me. And then the remaining 90% would be in the traditional stock. Because I'll give you an example. Like I personally, have you seen the news on Binance? About Binance, like allowing like stock trading now. So I think that's the reason why we're not seeing as much movement, especially now with Bitcoin as we should see. Now, it doesn't mean we won't see any movement. Obviously, today is a great day. It's a green day. We'll take it. But I think people are starting to pivot over to traditional stocks right now, especially with AI stocks pumping like crazy, right? But that's just my investment thesis regarding crypto and stocks and everything.
Damn, that is so crazy, bro. Oh my God.
One thing I did want to say, I briefly touched on this on my channel. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I'm sure you can kind of understand this. When there's also like advantages to investing into high yield ETFs that I accidentally discovered with my recent losses, than there is with investing into other assets, for instance. Now, of course, if ever you take losses in general, this applies, especially like in investing. But because dividend investing, number one, they have the ROC, right, return of capital. And then number two, if you're like really down, that could really help. I'm gonna say this. Let me not speak to people. Let me speak about myself. That really helped my tax situation. And that's just for that small port. Like that came in clutch. Amongst other things that I had to do, right? But it's. I think at the end of the day, like people need to understand, like there's different vehicles. I don't think you should be all in on one, and you got to remember, like people have different investment theses, and time horizons, as Eugene always says, and so much more. Because without that mindset, without that proper view and perspective, like you can really find yourself basically just like, I don't know if we could say this here, cashing in a lotto ticket, if you know what I mean, like, or playing slots. Let's say playing slots. I don't want to use the G word, so.
You gamble, whatever.
Gambling. All right, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, like it's, and we all know this. None of this on this channel is financial advice. We already kind of figured that out. At least I hope not, because man, speaking of 10% and being kind of conservative. My portfolio is 22% allocated to Bitcoin right now. 22%. Wow. Yeah, I just checked it out. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, it's gonna get bigger, dude. It's totally gonna get bigger. Because
why not?
So check this out. Let's see. I'd have to do the quick math or whatever. We could do it in a minute, but. I've read this book called Bitcoin 1 Million, right, by Fred Krueger, and he talks about and discusses the power law. That's how I discovered it, right? And then I listened to Adam Livingston on YouTube, and he has a great X platform as well. But they basically say that Bitcoin is the black hole, right? It sucks up every asset. It's basically it's apex asset, right? That's what it's known as. So it being the apex asset in a portfolio, eventually you just end up buying Bitcoin, right? And it was so funny, like I forgot who said it first, but they're basically saying like at some point your portfolio is just gonna have nothing but Bitcoin. And it's happening to me right now because as Bitcoin was falling so much and I'm getting stop loss out of some of my positions, or I'm selling them for profit, I'm sitting on a bunch of cash. I'm like, oh, this is a good time to DCA. Let me buy a little bit of Bitcoin. I'm like, oh, it dropped a little bit more. Let me buy a little bit more Bitcoin, and then a little bit more. And now I'm like, yo, I just burned through half my dry powder. And I'm like, and this position has grown so much in size. So I keep buying Bitcoin, and I don't mean to, but it's like the more you look at like projections, the more you look at like forecasts, it's like it's a no-brainer. Like, is Bitcoin cheap right now or very expensive? It's relative to what you're looking at in the future. Because if Bitcoin, let's say Bitcoin hits 1 million, right now it's a freaking steal. This is like $3,000 Bitcoin for $100,000 Bitcoin, right? Like this is a steal, right? So that's the way I'm looking at it right now, and I know that's really optimistic and dangerous. But yeah, that's the way I keep looking at it, and I'm like, you know what? Let me just add a little bit more to IBIT. Let me just add a little bit more to IBIT.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think like doing like the Bitcoin ETFs or like the crypto ETFs, if you have high conviction, of course, right, is definitely a smart move because it's ultimately passive for you, right? But of course, like even holding the traditional asset if you can, that's super crucial because like it's interesting, right? All the attention is on AI right now. And unless you are really invested into the cryptocurrency space, like I know you are, I know I am, Eugen, that's the only time you're seeing people still like the true Bitcoin investors, the true crypto investors speaking about DCAing more and acquiring more assets. Look at Michael Saylor as an example. A lot of people gave him a lot of crap for him selling, like you said, 32 Bitcoin. But look, it's strategic moves, and he ended up acquiring way more. Like I think like that's technically over 3 times more than he originally sold, pretty much, right? Because he got like 100 and something. And a lot of people don't understand this, but it's like, let's see. Okay, I'll read that next. A lot of people don't understand this, but it's like when you understand the way Bitcoin works or crypto works, and by the way, not financial advice, not telling you what to do or what to invest into. When you understand like the technology, when you understand the way that it holds value, the way that it stores value, right? You can kind of get a certain consensus of when people are shilling this so much. And right now, people are not shilling this so much. Only the OGs, right? Only the people getting high conviction. But when you have these influencers, and you know who I'm talking about, that right now they're talking about AI only. Right now they're talking about like other investments, other vehicles. But when you have them starting to talk about Bitcoin, that's when you don't really want to buy Bitcoin. That's when you don't want to buy cryptocurrencies. It's like the people with high conviction. And again, I'm not saying don't DCA. I DCA personally, right? But it's like if you don't focus on just this present horizon, this present time that we're in, and you like expand that and you see, okay, 5 years from now, what would this be? Potentially, right? Potentially. You can kind of get a good idea of where things are headed. Because to be honest, like, and I'm curious your thoughts about this, Eugen, and then we can talk about, I guess, MJ Bowhunter's comment. Now, I may get in trouble for saying this, but again, this is just conversation between you and I, right? And everyone's just like listening in on it, right?
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. I look at inflation pretty consistently. The true inflation, not the inflation that gets shilled out to everyone. Not the 4, the government, exactly. Not the 4, not the 8%, but like, the on average 200% plus, right? Across the board. And what's interesting is, be what it may about Bitcoin or even indexes, right? Let's talk about even traditional assets here. If you really look and pay attention to them, they only truly go up. Like for instance, people think $60,000 Bitcoin is like, oh my gosh, it's terrible. It's only terrible because you bought the freaking top. You listen to an influencer, you don't know anything about the asset. You haven't been following the asset to understand it. And you're complaining instead of DCAing in and acquiring more, right? If that's what you choose to do, of course. Versus if you look at indexes, it's pretty much the same thing. When there's been down times in indexes, whether it's like, 4% or whatever, right? A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, my portfolio, if they're newer investors. But if you really look at the grand scheme of things, if you really look at the charts from a long-term perspective, you kind of notice like if inflation is increasing and these investments are increasing, what's basically almost a guarantee? Like when you understand, especially now, because we've been experiencing, I may get in trouble for saying this. I'm going to use this term. I'm not saying this is the correct financial terminology. When we start experiencing like hyperinflation, like we have been with the sickness, with the lockdowns that happened in 2020, with everything that's been going on since the current administration stepped into office, right? And so much more with this whole Iran war stuff, right? The oil prices and everything. You start to understand like, are these real reasons why inflation is hitting the American populace or even the Western hemisphere the way it is? Or is this something bigger and grander? Are they trying to cover up their mess with something distracting? So what are your thoughts, Eugen? I know it's a big ball to drop, but
well, like I've talked about this on previous streams, right? The bullish tailwind for gold and for Bitcoin is the government. The perfect hedge for Bitcoin and gold is the U.S. government, because they're always going to print. Like literally, it does not matter what. Like it doesn't matter about CPI. It doesn't matter about inflation. It doesn't matter about rate cuts or rate hikes at this time. Like that's all noise. The government is going to print one way or the other. And here's another interesting point. We will never have a recession anymore because the government will just print. That's it. If we run into a problem with the economy, the government's going to print. If the real estate sector is gonna fall over and blow up, they'll just print more money, right? Saw it in 2008, 2009 with the banks. So this time is going to be no different, right? So really investing in like hard assets, gold, Bitcoin, things that are inflation or hedges, whatever, is a bet that the government is not going to practice austerity. They're not going to change monetary policy. They're not going to be responsible with taxpayer dollars. None of that is going to happen, in my opinion, right? And that is why I choose to own an asset like Bitcoin. And unless I get stopped out of my gold position, which is probably about 1% or 2% away, then I'm also bullish gold. But I'm bullish gold, anyways, because again, it is one of those hard assets. So in this regime, in this cycle, hard assets, gold, things like Bitcoin, real estate will one day have its glory.
For sure.
It's just it's not getting any love right now. Gold is still doing okay. It was trending down. I mean, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
That is a pretty nasty chart. And it looks like it's just been kind of chopping sideways for like the last couple of months, ever since this big drop, back in January. But yeah, MJ Barnard brings up a good point. Again, for the people that say you shouldn't buy more Bitcoin, the same concept works for those who kept buying Microsoft and Apple in the 90s and early 2000s. One thing I like to hear, and this is coming from Rick Rule, is he says buy hate and sell love. So he'll buy the most hated sectors, the most hated assets. And then when everyone is loving silver or loving gold or loving these mining companies, that's when he knows it's time to sell. When retail is talking about silver, right? Just like we saw with silver. When retail was talking about silver, that's when he knew it was time to get out. And he sold right before the drop. And then we had this crazy correction on silver. Everyone was talking about silver, all the channels, all the influencers, all of X, everyone's talking about silver, and then it blew up in everyone's face, right? There was a lot of manipulation in the silver markets, between China and the United States, a lot of institutional, buys, getting in and then getting out right at the exact moment as silver hit its bottom, right? So you talk about manipulation out there, absolutely insane. And of course, JP Morgan was behind some of it. And they're out here saying, oh, Coinbase is, they're being bad and paying all this money to lobbies and Washington.
Jamie
we need to level the playing field. Bro, you straight up murked a bunch of investors who are in silver, right? Like, get over it. But anyways, I digress from that. We also have from Rob Simon, I just balanced my income portfolio. Reality hit hard today, 1,800 plus loss in profits.
My condolences.
The pain will continue. Yeah, we have from CineSat Capital, my top 10, Shippy, QQQI, TDAX, T6, KQQQ, SPYI, VGT, QDVO, TDAC, and GPIX. Blended yield of 21%.
Very nice. There we go. I like VGT. VGT and Shippy.
Yep, that's how you do a high yield portfolio. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to call it right here because Nomad has to get going and I also have to get going. It is pretty late where we're at, but you guys enjoy the rest of the market open. You guys enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are in the rest of the world. And we will see you guys in the next stream. You guys take care. Nomad, do you have any parting words before you go?
Yeah. Take care, everyone. Remember not to stress. Sometimes it's okay not to look at the charts. And most importantly, do your own research.
Absolutely. All right, guys. You guys have a good one. Nomad, you can stay on the chat and we'll finish out here in a second.
Sounds good.